Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Franchise Spotlight. In today's episode we're going to be talking about For Your Eyes Only, which was directed by John Glenn and came out in 1981. Here's the slate board for it, so let's go ahead and get into it. Good thing for you guys is that Franchise Spotlight won't be postponed 3 months until the next episode because I was actually able to get my hands on the entire James Bond collection all the way up until Spectre, because obviously the new movie was supposed to come out in April, but unfortunately due to the global pandemic right now it was postponed, which I am very upset about, but I do understand the reasons why. However, For Your Eyes Only, like I said, does star Roger Moore. What I really liked about this one is that it started off with him at the grave of his wife, who George Lazenby actually married on Her Majesty's Secret Service. She died at the end of that movie. And I really liked that movie a lot, and I'm glad that this movie went back and paid homage to that movie, just because it kind of shows that these Bond films are interconnected. Along with this movie that I really liked, it felt a lot more grounded than the previous ones with Moonraker and The Man with the Golden Gun. While those movies, yes, are fun, this movie goes back to the core of what James Bond is, and that is adventuring the world and finding secrets that lead to another secret, that lead to another adventure in another part of the world. Because ultimately in this one, Bond has to go investigate a sunken ship that had intelligence on it, and he has to go retrieve it. So he has to go throughout the world and, clue to clue to clue to clue to find out really what happened and what's on this ship exactly. However, a big drawback in this movie was the female lead, Carol Bouquet. You could tell she wasn't really a seasoned actor, which normally doesn't bother me. However, she was just so bland in all her facial expressions, in all her emotions, in the way she talked. It was just, there was no character in her that she was playing. She was just talking, speaking lines, and you could tell that she was just speaking lines, and it just really bothered me. And like I said, I don't really normally have a problem or issues with vanilla acting. However, Carol Bouquet just wasn't bringing any life into the character. One thing that I don't think I've ever really mentioned in a Franchise Spotlight episode is the fact that anytime Bond has to go talk to Q about whether getting a gadget or something going on, he just needs like some sort of advice from Q. They always walk through Q's laboratory, and in the background, you always see people working on little gadgets that don't ever get used in a Bond movie, but they're just so fun. Like, someone has a broken arm, they're in a cast, and Bond says something to him, like, "Oh, hey, how's your arm?" And his arm swings open and cracks this dummy's head wide open like a melon and just explodes everywhere, like...
Q. Smithers, how's the arm?
Coming along very nicely, thank you, sir.
That'll come in handy.
What are you doing here, 007?
Identigraph, Q.
Go this way.
Stinging in the rain.
That's not funny, 007.
Why are they working on a cast, like a spring-loaded cast that can just break, like, stuff like that is just so goofy to me. That's another thing that I love about it, is that you have to watch what's happening behind the main story, what's happening in the background with the characters and what the actors are doing. It adds more life to what James Bond is, in my opinion. Similar to other Bond films, there's a lot of cool little kills and action moments in this. For example, there's a guy who is jumping from a diving board into a pool, and the second he jumps off the diving board into the pool, he gets shot with an arrow, but it happens so fast. I mean, obviously they just have a sound effect going in at that moment, but it's just like cool little things like that in the scene, all the other characters don't know what's happening until like all the blood is filling the pool, and then everyone screams, and that's when shit hits the fan. So that's gonna wrap up my thoughts on For Your Eyes Only. I didn't think this movie was phenomenal by any means. I don't think it was great, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it 2.5 stars, just below average. However, it was a little bit more grounded. They did a little bit of things I did like, but the biggest drawback, which really drove me crazy, was Carol Bouquet's performance, because she was in it for a majority of the time, and it just really dragged it down for me. But thanks everyone for watching, and until next time.